Hello. I'm making a video for all the dogs out there, and my message to the world is to all people, particularly right now here in the cold regions. Please bring your dogs and all of your animals into the house. Okay, this is very important. Very important petition, very important plea to all of you out there, because it is so cold. It is colder than it probably has ever been before here in the United States. Okay. We have a polar vortex going through from through all through all regions, and we have snow here, and the snow is this thick, and it's never happened before in this region. And this is because of dramatic CO2 emission weather pattern shifts, okay, and because of methane emission into the air, methane emission that has never happened like this before because of the agricultural businesses, and all of these gases that are being released into the atmosphere in such drastic amounts, which has never happened before like this. All of these things create a massive domino effect on this planet. And being in denial, which a lot of religious people are, that doesn't help the situation. That just makes it worse. So it is happening, and you better listen to the scientists, all of you out there, because this is very, very serious. And I want you all to bring all of your animals in the house. Keep your animals warm. Also keep the farm animals warm. They don't report on animals freezing to death on the news. They only report on people, on humans. So many people have died already from this polar vortex, and the number of animals that have died from hypothermia may be much larger. So I am terrified. I don't know what's going on out there. I'm absolutely worried about the future. I don't know how this is going to escalate. Extreme winters in the wintertime and extreme heat waves in the summertime. Extreme droughts and wildfires in the summertime. Right now in Australia, they have extreme wildfires. So once we get the summertime here in the northern regions, we're going to have wildfires again as well. So extreme weather imbalance is happening because of CO2 and methane gas emissions that are not balanced and not normal for life on planet Earth. And that's caused by human commerce. Let's go to bed. Yes, I'm in the process of making the video. Can you dry the papa dog? Okay, thank you. So, and make sure to take your animals out. They have to go out frequently. You go out there with them. For those animals with extremely short hair, like basset hounds, and in particular pit bull terriers and all of the short-haired dogs, I highly recommend to you buy them vests, or make them a vest yourself, or tie a blanket around their bodies just to keep the midsection warm, so that when they go outside that they don't get hypothermic. And it probably would, in some regions, it's much colder than here. So I'm really, really worried about this. I heard there are some regions that go down to minus 70 degrees Fahrenheit. That's extreme. Those are extreme temperatures. Those are temperatures that happen on Mars. I'm really worried about this. So when your dogs go out there, they might step on real sub-temperature ice, and they might even, there's no telling what might happen there to their feet. So when they touch that that cold temperature ground or the ice, so I recommend go look on the internet and check out clothing for dogs, and check out and see if you can buy your dogs some kind of socks or booties or something that are specifically made for this. I know that Rough Wear, for example, and REI, they sell dog shoes, and also for desert regions where there are cacti growing. And we had a dog, Samantha, she stepped into a cactus out there in Nevada, and it was horrible. And we pulled every one of those out ourselves with a pincer, and it was very painful for poor Samantha. And so if she had dog shoes with a really tough bottom sole, that would not have happened. And but also in the winter, when the ground is frozen like that, I highly recommend those booties for dogs, those sock type of boots that you pull over the paw, and I think they have Velcro fastener to go on top so that you protect the dog's feet. That's very important. The dogs are our children. They are equal to your children in value, in sentience, in needs. They feel just as cold and they feel just as scared as your children do. So protect your dogs. Put clothing on them, put shoes on them. Show those lights there in the back. Looks really pretty. So the future of architecture on this planet, and also on the other planets that people are going to go to, the future of architecture is going to be glass domes, plexiglass domes that have double or triple insulation, vacuum insulation layers for extra insulation and cold protection, heat protection, extreme weather protection. Just like an airplane has triple or quadruple windows, window insulation windows. It's very important to have those domes. So for those people who don't know what I'm talking about, go check out the glass dome structure in Seattle, Washington, by that was created by architects and paid for by Jeff Bezos, okay, the founder of Amazon. Okay, he has already established something like this there. They have offices in there for his company, and they are growing plants from all around the world in there, tropical plants as well. And the the place is not even, I think sometimes they don't even need to turn the heaters on. It heats itself up just from the sun. And it's absolutely amazing. It's like a huge greenhouse. And that is the future of architecture, to live basically in huge greenhouses. And these structures can be put over existing dwelling places, existing homes, anything, any kind of building that's there. You can create a glass structure dome over it and just put it all the way over the level ground. It can also be put over slopes, but that requires much work from a static engineer. He has to calculate the slope and all of this, and they have to be very careful on how to set up the steel and glass structure over it, and in which angle, and it has to be anchored into the ground in a specific way. So I personally, I just want a glass dome to be set up over level land and be able to live in that without having real extreme temperatures. So, and I recommend that to all people. And you can have that done, even for a lower price. It depends on the size, of course. You can have a very sturdy dome structure set up that basically is just for like one room or something, something like that. That's probably not as expensive. And you can put all the frogs in the environment into the dome structure so that they can they can be happy and sing. The frogs they actually go into a frozen state during the winter. So there's a lot of frogs that when it gets cold they become very, very, very docile, and we were able to lift them up like this and hold them in our hands. But then they would come alive because of the heat of the hands. So it's better not to do this to their metabolism, to have to heat up and get cold again. They should, they should be left alone, and they should be allowed to hibernate in that state where they go into a frozen hibernation. and that's possible because their blood contains antifreeze. It's true. It's a natural antifreeze. Kind of similar in the structure as people put into a car, but it's not the same, of course. So it protects their cells from expanding and tearing. So that's what can happen when they freeze. So the anti-freeze prevents the cells from tearing apart or bursting. That's very good. But I don't know what happens with such extreme cold temperatures, so I don't know what happens with that. I'm really worried for all animals, for the domestic animals, for the wild animals. I'm worried for all of them. We saw a little child at the beach. Little boy was about 2 years old, or a year and a half. I mean, he was just out of diapers, just able to walk. And he was kind of wobbling along, and his shoelaces were undone. He fell over on the beach. He was lucky he didn't hit his head on a rock. His grandfather wasn't paying much attention to him. So I rushed over there. I helped him. I tied up his shoelaces. I said, "Baby, be careful." And he seemed very restless and very angry. He was throwing rocks. At the same time, he was happy that he met Dave and me, and that we paid attention to him, that we communicated with him. So then he was hitting around him with a stick, with a long stick. So I said to him, "Be careful with that long stick. You don't want to hit anyone with this in the face." So then he finally smiled and he handed me that stick and he said, "Up there." So he wanted me to put that stick up on a wall and out of the walkway. And I said, "Thank you. That's very kind of you, that you want me to put that stick out of the way where we walk, and where someone can get hurt on it." And that made him feel better, that conversation. He was just dressed in long pants and a sweatshirt, but he didn't have a jacket or anything. At some point he grabbed my hand, and his hand was ice cold, just like this here. And I felt terribly sorry for that little boy. And I told the grandfather, I told him that he's cold and he needs to be protected. And then we walked up to the parking lot, and the parents were there, his parents. And they were all dressed like they were living in Florida, with t-shirts and shorts. And I said to them, "My goodness, you gotta protect your child and your dogs from the cold. You don't want them to get a bladder infection." And I had this impression that they didn't even know what a bladder infection was, or that there was a risk like this. There were risks, there were dangers. They acted like they didn't know about dangers or anything. So my thoughts go out there for all those families that have never been told that there are dangers, that dogs and children can get bladder infections. They have never been told. So that needs to be incorporated into the schools, this kind of information. When I was a child, we learned a bunch of things that we learned way too many things that did not even apply to our lives. Even though my parents are non-religious, they signed me into the religion alternative class. so which was called Values and Norms. But again, values and norms imposed on us? Whose values and whose norms? So, and what did they teach? They taught they taught religion again, religious things, basically Bible stories from Egypt and stuff like this. And all of this didn't make any sense. It didn't apply to our lives. Whatever we learned then in math or in physics also didn't seem to be in any way connected or docked onto our actual lives, where the information could actually be helpful or make any sense. So that's why I want a complete school reform for the world. I want to see that happening, hopefully while I'm still alive. A complete school reform needs to happen so that people can get educated on real life and real protection, and also how to make one's life healthy, how to be healthy, how to have a quality life. I see most people don't have a quality life at all. Most people live a life in just dabbling in the fog, basically. They're mentally fogged by anti-information and corporatism. Fogged by the corporate agenda with commercials and with things that they're telling them how to live their lives, so that the corporations can make more money. This is what you need, so that way I can sell it to you. Yeah, that's not how life works. I give people information that they need, that they really need, and I'm not capitalizing on it. And I want everyone to do the same thing, and I want corporations out there to do that as well, to educate people, to help. They have a lot of followers. They have people who look up to them. They have a responsibility with that, to educate people on how to protect their animals and themselves. As an activist, when I go and I'm looking for products that I need, for example, I research for weeks on the internet. I don't just take the next website that is being offered or sponsored, particularly. I'm not going to take the next website that is the most flashy or the most capturing for our senses or whatever. I read all of it. I look at all of them, at the boring ones too, at the scientific ones, at the flashy ones, and I compare that. I owe that to us, to research, to research all of this, to find out whether these products are safe for animals and humans. Some of the products are not safe, but they're being sponsored, they're being capitalized on, they're being sold to people as something great, and most people don't research this. They just accept it. They don't question things. So that's why it's a foundation for one's life to question things and not to accept whatever is being offered to us. I research even as simple as chewing gum. I researched that for months because I don't want an aspartame or Splenda or sucralose, or that sucralose is Splenda, and aspartame is the old sweetener. That was actually a waste product while they were trying to make a pesticide. It's basically a pesticide, is what aspartame is. I think it's an ant killer. You want to eat that? No, but they will sell it to you because they don't care. The most corporate people don't care. They will sell you poisons and candy, and pay attention to these people, Pay attention. Don't let your dogs eat candy. There are things that are poisonous for dogs, like aspartame and Splenda and xylitol and a lot of those sweeteners. Xylitol is from birch trees. It's an isolated component from birch trees, and it's healthier for people as a sugar substitute. I wish they didn't put any. I wouldn't need any sugar sweetener substitute or stevia or whatever. I don't want any, but they don't have it. You can't even buy it. I guess I'm gonna have to make that. If it doesn't exist, we have to make it. It's as simple as that. I want to make gumballs, that are made out of healthy, safe ingredients that are actually good for our teeth and for our bodies. So we can make gumballs out of a gum base. I don't know the gum base. The gum base is probably a petroleum-based type of gum, some kind of polymer type, I don't know, some kind of artificial resin type material. I don't know how good those are actually, but the gum base is not what is dangerous. What's dangerous are the artificial sweeteners. So we can't buy that stuff anymore. No way. So how I would make a gum, probably from Amazonian rainforest resin, tree resin. Because when we do this, then we give people an incentive to keep the trees standing and not log them down. That's what they're doing in the Amazonian rainforest. They are clear cutting this enormous forest that is vital and important for all the animals and people too. They cut their own throat by doing this. And they do it out of short-sightedness. They do it out of greed. They'll put cattle there to graze, so they feed into the meat industry. They slaughter the cattle. And we don't need meat. Nobody needs it. This is just a greed-based industry. That's all it is. Leave those trees standing. So if we leave the resinous trees standing, and all of those, all trees need to stay. And we can help those resinous trees if we create an industry, or if we support the existing tree resin industries. The industries where they do sustainable and reasonable tree resin harvesting. without causing an injury to the organisms. I don't like that tapping into the tree and making the tree bleed to heal itself, but that's when the resin comes out. People can make natural gum with this, or all kinds of products actually. But the reason why I support this, only for one reason, is because doing that will protect the trees, will make them have an incentive to keep the trees and not log them down. Because the world needs the trees. We need the trees for oxygen, for a home, for all the animals out there, for all the parrots, all the toucans, all the cockatoos, all those birds that are living in there, that are feeling safe in the jungle. And all the other animals, the tree climbing mammals, all of those. It's very important to keep the forests. So, yeah, we need to think for the planet, you know. We can't just lean back and say, oh, I let the politicians do it. We have to help. We have to help Donald Trump and all politicians so that together we can make it better. Yeah. We can't just lean back and let just one man go against the corporate agenda, against the mafia out there. We have to help with this. Each person is responsible to help with that. So my dream is for the future to one day have sustainable living and have a production line or several production lines going that protect the planet and that make us healthier. For example, making my own dog food for affordable prices too, not just for people who don't care if one bag of 30 pounds of kibbles costs $100. Most people can't afford that, including us. We can't afford a 30-pound kibble bag for $100. It's just not going to happen. So Paul is starting to make Papa Dog waffles to eat. Vegan waffles. Vegan. I got Papa Dog the Honest Kitchen dog food mix. It's like it's a pulverized mix, and it's dry pulver. And so I started to make him dishes with that, kind of like a cereal, sort of, you know, and he liked it. But he doesn't like to eat it when it is in a consistency, so sort of like Play-Doh almost, you know. He doesn't know how to eat that because that's kind of hard to eat. So what we need to do is, and that stuff also contains chicken, the other stuff's all good, has herbs in it, but chicken in general, even if it's non-GMO, even if it's organic, chicken does contain arsenic. And rice too contains arsenic. We need to research these things. And the reason why it contains these things, it used to not contain these things before human commerce. But because of environmental degradation and human commerce and exploitation of corporations on the environment, because of that, we have all of these toxins now in different plants, and also those are getting into animals. Chicken, poisons getting into poultry and also into fish. So it's very awful. Right there is another reason to go vegan. And I heard that dogs can live vegan. We can gradually getting them used to this. So making waffles is a great way to do it. I recommend that to other people as well. You know, make the waffles with whole wheat flour or other grains. You know, if your animal is gluten hypersensitive, for example, has celiac disease, our former dog had celiac disease, was very difficult. There are all these, the gluten everywhere and everything. So we had to pay much attention to the dog food we got, including the more expensive dog food, like Honest Kitchen. Honest Kitchen is also recommended by Peter. It's on Peter's Safe Dog Food list. And Halo from Ellen DeGeneres as well is on the Safe Dog Food list. You can go to Peter's website and they have the comparison. They have the good dog food list and the bad dog food list. The dog foods that contain bad things, and also they do metabolic cruel tests, or they hire companies and or companies that in turn hire also laboratories to test the dog food. And they do this because they don't want to be sued by anyone. What if one dog has an allergic reaction or has an adverse reaction to some ingredient, and then they don't want to get sued? That's the whole thing. Is all about money. It's all about greed. So they do cruel tests, and it's not like testing on dogs that are happy at home, just giving them some healthy dog food and seeing how they're doing. No, that's not how they test. They have dogs and cats in laboratories, in cages. They stand on wire cages, on wire stacked up on top of another. It's horrific. Okay? Horrific suffering. So that's why Peter has the list of bad dog food manufacturers, to alert people to stay away from those. Stay away from those. IAMS is one of them. Science Diet is another one. Stay away from those. Some of those bad dog food companies, they're even recommended by veterinarians. They get money, they get financial kickbacks for recommending those, just as they get financial kickbacks on the pharmaceuticals that they give and administer and prescribe. Same with human doctors. We need to pay attention to these things, okay? We need to educate ourselves. This is our responsibility. Not just lean back and do video games and let other people run things. That's not how things are being improved in the world. You know, if people want some people, they want stimulating video games. But you know what's much more helpful and also very stimulating, actually, for the brain, is to go out and research things and to find out and to be a good steward for the animals and the planet and to become aware about what people are doing. Look over their shoulders and see what they're doing. You know, you have to look over people's shoulders. Not everyone is a good Samaritan out there. You know, when you go to, when you need surgery done, for example, which, you know, also something that can be avoided. But if you need surgery done, for example, you need to have someone there that films that operation, you know. And if you have someone there who films the operation, then you don't have to be afraid that they might knock you out completely and then have to revive you. And my husband and I, we believe that happened to him when he had his hernia operation. Maybe I should have gone in there with Kenny a couple of years ago. Should have gone in there right in the beginning and should have filmed this. I could have said, I'm filming it for my YouTube channel. That already helps, you know. It doesn't matter what your camera looks like. Could be a kid tablet. It doesn't matter. What matters is that this is being filmed. And they know that it's being filmed. Humans are apes, and they are greedy. And they don't have their minds on, they usually don't have their minds on helping and making things better and looking after someone. They are looking after their income. And when their feelings are hurt, when the patient says, "Oh, I'm afraid of the euthanasia, I'm afraid of the anesthesia drug," then, and that is also a euthanasia drug, of course, the same thing. But you know, anesthesia, just administering so much that one is knocked out for an hour or something. And he was afraid of this, so the nurse took offense. Ego, greed, self, you know, the self, always living in this ego tunnel, as Thomas Metzinger calls it. Living in the ego bubble, as Theo Swan calls it. We live each person lives in a bubble of self agenda. They don't look after the other. Okay, so we need to reform this. We need to shift this. And it starts with every single person. Every single person needs to work on themselves in this regard. We can't continue like this, with this complacency. Complacency is very dangerous. It makes the world terrible. Because when we're complacent, other people will create a plan for us. And that plan may not be the best. It may not have our interest in mind. It may not have our well-being in mind. Okay? We need to become aware about all of these things. So it is up to us to become more responsible. This is the 8 on the side. It is the infinity sign. And that is the blue God. It's the infinite cosmos. And I have the infinity sign also in my artwork, as you can see. I want everyone to get into meditation and let off the needing, let off the the feeding of the self-image, how they are standing in the view of society or other people. Let off. It doesn't matter how other people view you. Really makes no difference at all. You go into yourself. Let other people think whatever they want to think. And when you go into yourself, you will find a partner. You will find friends who really, really care about you. You will find people to like you, whether you have designer clothes on or designer perfume or not, or whether you have a generic perfume or generic clothes from generic startup companies. There are some amazing startup companies in Asia in particular. These people are hardworking and they're intelligent. They make amazing stuff. And sometimes I find really, really wonderful companies on Amazon that make amazing clothes for a fifth of the price of designer clothes. You pay for the names. I was almost gonna buy myself these Lacoste women dresses that come over the hips. I wouldn't wear them as dresses. I have a long back. I would just wear them as shirts that are long. So my back's like always a foot longer than other people. Sort of feels like it. I don't know if it's, but it feels like my back's a foot longer, or maybe 10 inches longer than other people's. So my husband always says it's because I'm coming from a bloodline of Scandinavians who also had been infused with the Asian Neanderthal and the European Neanderthal, and they have long backs and short arms and short legs to protect themselves from the cold. That's an evolutionary characteristic. Long backs, short arms, short legs, but big feet. I saw a scientist the other day who's like, I was like, oh my gosh, that guy looks like me when I was 13. I mean, that was crazy. Really cute, cute guy. From Estonia. And that's when my husband and we both noticed that he looks quite a bit like I do. And he has that same long back, short arms and short legs. And even the face is quite similar. Narrow nose and small lips and kind of like narrow eyes and all of this. That seems to be coming somewhere from the Scandinavian countries as well. That is I think they don't have, I don't know. Some of them, like in Iceland, I don't know if you guys know the singer Björk. She looks very Asian. So I don't have much of an Asian facial characteristic. So I guess there are different bloodlines that go through that. So I'm definitely related to that scientist. So, and I know that Björk must have ancestors that are Oriental, that are Asian bloodlines, definitely. Very interesting looking face and body, and beautiful, very beautiful. I got myself a perfume oil called Unicorn Glow, and it is lovely. The actual perfume molecule is synthetically designed, but the carrier oil, which is 98%, is coconut oil, sunflower oil, all the very good oils, very good natural plant oils. It's all vegan, it's cruelty free, and it's premium grade fragrance molecule, and it is cosmetic grade, it is skin safe. It's absolutely wonderful. I am in love with that. I'm absolutely in love. And although I am completely pro all natural and all of this, all natural scents and essences, I have a couple of times been tricked while buying natural essences. I could just tell that those were not scent notes that came from nature. I can absolutely tell, because I bought a lily oil that was also quite reasonably priced. I'm not going to mention any names now, but you know, there are companies out there. We have to be very, very vigilant with this. But I liked the lily oil. I liked it. It was nice. I very much enjoyed it, even though it had the synthetic components in it. But they should not be advertising it as all natural. So that's where the crookedness is. That shouldn't. They should also crack down on those people. Absolutely. Because what if people ingest that? We can't ingest it. That is not healthy. Then there are also flavor grade oils, synthetic flavor grade oils as well, which have been declared safe for putting, a percentage of it, I don't know, 2%, for mixing it into lip balms and stuff like this. I personally, the battery's empty. Okay, I personally, when it comes to lip balms, I like to go all natural, but I gotta plug this in before it turns itself off, and then the video is lost. Okay, you guys take care. Bye.